I have decided I'm no longer looking for a job. No, I am a house husband, and that is going to be my job for the rest of my life. Nice. So, as an example of this, we're going to do some house husband maxing. Today, I'm cooking dinner. I'm going to cook a lovely French style loaf of bread to have with a nice chicken laksa soup for my family on this cold, although very sunny, winter's day. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need some hot water. So I can remember the recipe for this. I got myself a Breville bread oven. Get one. They're not too expensive, and you can make bread easy as. So what I do is I get hot water. Okay, hot water. You need about a cup and a half of hot water. It's close enough. I used to be really pedantic about the measuring. I'd have exactly the right water, and I'd sift all the flour and make sure it's correct. And it didn't really help. And then one day I just did. I just chucked it all in, loosey goosey, and the next thing you know, I had a perfect loaf of bread. So that's my thing now. I like to use hot water. It says warm water, but I like to use hot water because it takes time and the water cools down. So by the time this is all ready to mix, if you use hot water from the tap, then it'll be warm and it'll be perfect temperature to help activate the yeast. Now you see, I've been unemployed for coming up a year now, and to be fair, I haven't actually spent any time looking for jobs in that. I was going to, that was the plan, but you know what, I'm enjoying this too much. I love getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I love taking the kids to school. Life is good. There's so much better than work, having to get up early, going commuter traffic, yuck. And then yeah, it's not for me, right? So next thing we need 15 mils of bit too much there. I screwed that up, but a bit too much there, but that's all right. There's some oil. I use Pam's pure olive oil. I'm a classy guy. So yeah, I mean, house husband, it should be a career alternate option for men. Like, why aren't more men doing it? This is brilliant. I don't have to go to work. I don't have a boss telling me what to do. The next thing we need 2 teaspoons of salt. So I've got my handy dandy thingies here. I just use sea salt. 1, 2. And then we need 2 teaspoons of sugar. 1, 2. Okay, so once we've got those, then we need the flour. This is a very easy recipe to make. So what I do here is I used to weigh it all out, 500 and blah, blah, blah. But now I just round it out to 4 cups. It works perfectly. So I've got my big Pyrex thing here, and I have my Edmonds high grade bread flour. Okay. And there we go. I'm just get about 4 cups. And see, that's close enough. Nothing too. And then you just pour it in. Right. And so now that's easy as. Now the last thing we need, the most important ingredient, Edmonds Sure Bake active yeast ingredient. So I don't know what you might have in anywhere else, but here in New Zealand we got this. It's got the bread conditioner. It's got everything you need. So it works. It's all you need to make good bread. So you need 2.5 teaspoons of this. So we go 1 teaspoon. And then here's my 1.5 teaspoon, and then 1.5 teaspoons. And now all we need to do is put it in the bread oven. Like this. And then put it on the large, make sure it's on the right menu option. So I go menu 2, size large, and then I also do the color the darkest, so you get a bit more of a chewy crust. And then, done. I've just made a loaf of bread. So in 3 hours and 40 minutes, I'm going to have a delicious loaf of bread for dinner. You know, so all I have to do now is heat up the laksa soup. And I bought some cheap soup. Wait, so I'm not going to make soup. So I just bought this cheap chicken laksa soup. It's Pam's. It's a home brand supermarket ingredient. It's perfectly fine. It's cheap. So I've got a nice, cheap, delicious meal for the whole family. Probably less than $10 for the whole meal. So yeah, house husband maxing is as easy as that. You just got to come up, get up in the morning, get the kids off to school, do your chores, make a nice delicious meal for the family, and that's it. And then you can spend your day doing other stuff, you know. So in the morning I do I've got a quiz channel that I do. No one watches it, but I'll enjoy doing the quiz, so I like doing it. And then I can yesterday I went to I went out for lunch with my mate. Now my mate's a lot older than me. He's retired, so you know he's got plenty of time as well. So we went out and had brunch with the boys on a Wednesday. You can't do that if you got a job, right? You're stuck in the office doing spreadsheets or PowerPoints, or you know digging holes or driving trucks. I love green tea too, by the way. So house husband maxing, everyone, I think that's the goal. So my goal now in life is to be the best house husband I can possibly be. So doing chores, keeping the house tidy. So there's a lot more I need to pick up, a bit more of the admin than she should. So I need to sort that out. Like she still organizes the groceries, she orders them online, and then we pick them up. She picks them up after work, right? Now that's something I could do. She's a bit loath to let me do it because I'll probably spend too much money, and as I'm not bringing in money, you know, I need to be careful with that. But you know, other than that, you know, life's great. I just get to hang around at home. That's a good thing. I love being alone. You know, I don't want to be lonely, but I do like having alone time. And being a house husband with the kids off at school, the wife off at work, I get about 6 hours of completely uninterrupted time to just sit and think in my head and just not have to worry about what other people are worrying about or anything like that. So I really like it. And then I can go and hang out with my mate, have brunch with the boys, you know, and you know, the other stuff, just hobbies really. So even though I'm pretty adamant I'm not going to be getting a job. I'm not going to do that. But that doesn't mean I don't want to help provide and add finances to the household. So I'll be looking at doing some other stuff. I don't know. I might make something. I don't know. I mean, for my daughter's 21st, my oldest daughter's 21st, I made her an axe. I made her a Viking style axe. But then because she's moldy, I put some moldy designs on it and stuff. I'll put a picture up, and I know the etching isn't that great, but it was my first time and I'm not very artistic. But you know, I could maybe make more axes. I'm sure someone would like to buy you know, some people might like a artistic axe of some description. I don't know, maybe. But I'm sure there's other things I could do. I could potentially get a part-time job, but I really don't want to. I don't want a job where I have a boss. Yeah, life. Yeah, I don't want someone telling me what to do. I think I've had enough of that in my life, and quite frankly, I'm tired of it. It's bad enough with the government. You know, they're always trying to tell us what to do. But it's not your job to tell us what to do, government. Your job's to do what we tell you to do, you know? I started watching this YouTube channel called Loser Maxing, and that's what gave me the idea of Househusband Maxing. You know, doing a good job at being a house husband myself, and then potentially encouraging other people, other men to do it. Because I think there's a lot of men out there. Some men won't do it. Some men want to work. You know, they don't feel like they are men if they don't work. Whereas other men like myself, yeah, they're quite happy to not work, to be a house husband. And those men, I think, should really embrace it more. And society should be more accommodating to them. You know, they should be like, okay, so some men want to be a house husband, and you know, and I'm sure some woman out there, some career-driven woman, would appreciate it. Like I had a boss once, years and years and years ago. He was my boss. Like I was a manager at a bus company, and he was my boss. And his wife had a baby, and so one of them had to stay home and look after the baby. Now his wife was a doctor, so of course it made sense. She obviously made more money, but also as far as society goes, a doctor provides more value than, you know, a corporate middle management guy at a bus company, right? So it made sense for him to stay home and look after the kids. So, you know, situations like that, I think, would be ideal for house husbands. But yeah, I was watching this channel called Loser Maxing. Now, I don't know if it's serious or not. If it is serious, it's also unintentionally the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. It's this guy. He's like 37 years old. He lives with his mum. He's unemployed. He does have a successful YouTube channel though. He said he's got like a master's degree and a bachelor's, so he's quite well educated. He says he's ugly. He calls himself a sub 5 male. I'm guessing that's 5 out of 10. But he's pretty average looking. I'd say me and him are looks matched. We look very similar. We're both middle-aged white guys with beards and balding, you know. So there's a lot of us out there. And, you know, I'd say I'm a solid 5 out of 10 on a good day. But he's really down on himself about his looks. But it's almost like he's a real life Larry David. He's quite neurotic, very anxious and worried. He seems to worry a lot. But it is hilarious. He was telling a story. He wasn't telling me a story. He was telling a story on YouTube. I watched a video that he put out a few weeks ago, and he was going on a date with his girlfriend, and he was very excited. It was his second date, and he called her his girlfriend. I was like, I don't think it's your girlfriend if it's your second date, technically. But he was going on a date with his girlfriend. And he was very excited because he's also a virgin. He hasn't had much experience with women in that way as well. So he was looking forward to it because they had discussed that after the date they would do some kissing. And, you know, bear in mind this guy's 37 years old, and so he's all excited to go on this date. So he dresses up nicely. His first letdown is she comes out of the house and she's in like pants and a t-shirt, you know, not dressed up at all. So he's put in all this effort. He's dressed up nice. He's razored his head, and she just comes out in a t-shirt. And then so they go to this nice restaurant, and then this other dude turns up who's with his girlfriend, and he knows the Loser Maxing guy's girlfriend. So they start talking, and then one thing leads to another, and they're like, why don't we have dinner together? So he ends up on a double date, right? So he's pissed off with that because he's already pissed off because she didn't put in as much effort as he did for the date, and now he's pissed off because she's invited another couple to have shared dinner with him when he just wanted to spend time with her. And then the dude and his girlfriend, Loser Max's girlfriend, just spend the whole dinner talking to each other. So the other dude's girlfriend just is on her phone. He's sitting there just annoyed, and his girlfriend and the other guy are just talking the whole time. And so he's annoyed. He's just constantly annoyed. I remember at one point, the other guy got like a cocktail. So Loser Max's girlfriend asked for a drink of a cocktail, and he checked. He checked to make sure where she drank from the cup, and it was the same part of the cup that he drank from. So technically, their lips touched, and so then he was jealous because he wanted to kiss her later, not him. I just found it hilarious. I feel sorry for the guy in a way. I think if I had to give him advice, I'd say, bro, just get out of your head. Like, so from watching his videos, if I had to summarize what I think his biggest problems are in life that he needs help with, is that, because he didn't do anything, he didn't do any dumb stuff when he was younger with women and all that. He hasn't gone through those learning phases. So now he's a 37-year-old man who basically has the same sort of life experience with women as, say, a 15-year-old boy, right? And I think something similar is like, I never learned to drive until I was like 29, right? So I used to drink a lot when I was younger. And so I thought at best, I was quite sensible, really. I thought, I'm not going to bother learning how to drive because I drink too much. I'll probably end up driving drunk. And so I didn't learn to drive till I was 29. But the problem is, right, once you get out of those, risk-taking teenage years, things like learning how to drive are a lot more difficult, right? When you're young and stupid and you just want to drive, you're like, yeah, I'll do it, I'll give it a go. But then when I'm like 29, 30 years old and I'm trying to learn how to drive, I'm a bit more risk averse and all that sort of stuff. So it's a bit more, becomes more of a challenge for you to get out of your head and learn how to drive, right? And I think that's the same sort of thing. It's quite funny, actually. The reason why I actually bit the bullet and learned how to drive is like when I was 29, my wife gave birth to our son, and he came out 3 months early, quite premature. So my wife had to have a C-section. My son's in hospital for 3 months. But a few days after the C-section, it's time to go home. My wife has to drive herself home. Now I was quite ashamed at that. And so I'm like, I'm going to learn how to drive. So that never happens again. And it never happened again because I learned how to drive. But yeah, I think the same sort of issue with loser maxing is happening, right? So he hasn't gone through those stages as a teenager and a young man, making a fool of himself and embarrassing himself and taking chances with women. And so now he's just 37 years old. He's more risk averse. He's obviously neurotic. I think he's like a real life Larry David, like I said, very neurotic, quite anxious. He worries a lot from what I tell from watching his videos. And so he's always in his head thinking about it. And he's very insecure. And the thing is, women can smell that. Like, I'm not much of a ladies' man. But what I do know is that if you're insecure, you're nervous, you're anxious, women aren't going to want to go near you because you don't exude the confidence that I think women want. And that's all evolutionary biology, right? Like, think back to like the Stone Age, cavemen. A woman doesn't want a neurotic, anxious man because there's like saber-toothed tigers and stuff around. So you want someone who's confident and can just go do something. And I suppose my advice to loser maxing would be, get out of your head. You need to stop thinking about women. You just need to start focusing on improving yourself. I think I'm going to the gym. Maybe I think I watched the video. He said he used to fashion max a lot when he was younger. So maybe you could get back into fashion maxing. Go to the gym. Just really start focusing on improving himself, and not be so down on himself. And I think once he starts improving himself and he starts stacking little wins over and over and over and over, his confidence will just naturally improve, and that will actually attract women more. So that's the thing. Like, yeah, I think from an evolutionary biology point of view, you've got to look at human men like, say peacocks, for example. So peacocks have the big flowers and the big tails and stuff like that, and that is to attract a female mate. Now, obviously, we're not peacocks, we don't have feathers, but we are the variable. And so, yes, looks are important and stuff like that. But as far as attracting women, you just have to be good at one thing. If you're good at something and you have proven success and it brings in resources, then woman will see that and go, this man is confident. He knows he's in control of his life. He's bringing in his own resources, and that will make him the more naturally attracted to him, right? And so, like for loser maxing, he can look at his YouTube channel. It's incredibly successful. He's got like 20-30,000 subscribers. He gets lots of views on every video. He gets likes. He gets comments. He's obviously making money from it. So that is something he has created. And if he just focuses on that and makes that best he can, and then also focuses on more things in his personal life, like his his appearance, going to the gym, just stacking little wins, getting hobbies, getting good at something, and that will naturally build his confidence. And then I think he'll have better luck with the ladies. Now he'll probably, if he watches this, which he won't, but if he does, he'll probably get angry at me and say I wouldn't know what I'm doing, what I'm talking about. But I think I do, because I'm no better looking than him. But I've been married for I've been with my wife for over 20 years, so I've got some experience, and so it's not all about looks, especially with women. It's not all about looks. But anyway, this is me. I just wanted to show you guys how to do some house husband maxing with making bread for the family. Easy as. It took me less than 5 minutes to make this loaf of bread. And so there'll be a nice crusty loaf of bread to have with a nice chicken lobster soup after I get my daughter home from her swimming lessons today. House husband maxing, man. Just get into it if you can. If you're a husband and your wife makes more money than you, great. Tell her I'm staying home, I'm house husband maxing. And if she complains, you go, what are you talking about? It's 2026, the age of equality. It's okay. And if she's not happy about it, quit your job and just tell her you got fired and get amongst it. Enjoy life. But anyway, that's all. That's all. This is my video on how to make bread, on house husband maxing, and my advice to loser maxing. If anyone watches this, let me know in the comments what you think of this video. Let me know what you think of my making bread. Let me know what you think of my advice to loser maxing. And let me know what you think of house husband maxing. And yeah, have a great day.